Hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to I forgot the number and I'm still not looking at it, +1 stream for SimAirport. Today with the June update stream. We've got two special things for you. The one special thing is that Arthur and I can see us, but not just Arthur and I can see us, but bam, big reveal. You can see us too. The second big thing, so that's the big thing, the special thing. The second big thing is we don't directly start off on the usual save. You know us, we play pretty much on the same save on all the streams. We've got a new save over here, and I'll just go through it with you real quick, and then we switch over to our good save, our big save. Basically, I just want to show you one new thing in this update, in the June update, which is the Sandbox Menu. So people have requested something like instant build, but we added 3 small options in the Sandbox menu. Basically instant build, infinite money, it just, you usually have a money number at the top. And if you say infinite money, you have no money. It is still calculated in the background, so if you want to switch it on at some point, you can just switch it back on. Research all does what it should do. And instant build is pretty much the most important thing in here. So if you just take a look at foundation building, usually what you would see is you place down the foundation, and it is under construction for some time until it really is constructed. And the workmen, we don't have any on the map yet, but the workmen come around and build it actually. If you have instant build on and you construct something, it's instantly there. That's basically it. It's straightforward as that. It works with stuff like foundation, but it also works like with stuff like placeables, gate, taxiway.
Everything. I mean,
Basically
this is
everything.
something I think you guys have been asking for since the very, very beginning, and we're always hesitant. Part of it is like, if there's no construction, then if there are bugs in construction, we don't know about them because everybody's going to be playing without. You're going to play the easiest way you can for the most part. Yeah, I mean, this is awesome.
There you go.
Just to finally have.
Works with deconstruction too. So let's go over to the usual save you play on.
So Alo said instant foundation is free even with money on. So you're in Sandbox, it should be charging you.
Well, it possibly doesn't charge with instant build. Probably just places it.
That would be a bug, I would say.
Yeah, possibly.
I've logged that.
Perfect. Probably just ignored it when I added that function.
Welcome everybody. Hey, Green Gemini's here with us today too.
Hello, Green.
Tons of familiar faces. TB Flash, don't worry about being late. We got started late. This is our first time streaming with the camera on, and I was literally had a drill in my hand and a brad nailer until about 5 minutes ago, getting my green screen up and my windows darkened. So we're running a little behind too.
Well, for being a little bit behind, we are still pretty good. Not only on time, but on being here.
Yeah, this is a cool change of pace. We've wanted to get on camera for a while now, and just haven't been able to take the time to get it all set up. It was quite a bit to set up. Webcams are really tough to come by right now, even. I had to use a local guy who had bought a bunch of them and was reselling them for profit just to get a camera.
Oh yeah, by the way, while I'm hovering over a couple of these packs, we've got a lot of names in the game now. Basically, I think I haven't seen one of the list-generated names in a month or so. Pretty much just custom names now.
Yeah, it's cool to see too. Just getting chat everything set up. Yeah, I figured it would be good to, you hear us talk, and until you really see us, I don't know. I felt like this would be more intimate. I'm a little bit of a shy guy, and if you look at my wedding photos, I've got hair down to my neck, and so you never know. I'm not exactly always the most well kept looking guy, but hey, we're here as we are. We come as we are.
Wait, look at my hair. I've got the problem, I've got really thick and a lot of hair. Well, the positive thing is I might not bolt that fast, but I have so much hair currently, and I'm just too lazy to go to the hairdresser? No.
Yeah, or barber.
Hairdresser? Barber, yeah.
You know what? Every about 6 months, I'll be shaving my dog, and I'll go up to my wife and say, "Here, I'll hand her the same clippers," and I say, "Go for it," and she just shaves my head. It's not like I'm cheap. I don't want to take the time, and it's equally effective. I think my wife feels privileged too.
Green. Your voice matches the description of the long hair. I thought my voice matches the description of being German. But that fits too. We've already got a couple of questions. Do we want to go through them?
Yeah.
So Befubodev, I know he's German, so no idea how to still no idea how to pronounce that. May I ask how many people are working on SA? So SimAirport, just you two guys?
So we've got right now it's really just us two working on it. Josh is working on it full time, development wise. I'm splitting my time, but I'm not writing as much code as I used to. We've got another developer. He's currently focused though on, you guys know him, Michael. He's focused on the new game right now, and I'm kind of splitting my time between both and coordinating stuff for art and all of that. But yeah, right now it's basically Joshua full time on it, and I just criticize Joshua every now and then, and I write some code when needed. Keep an eye on forums and stuff. But really, Joshua is the guy leading the charge on SimAirport at the moment. We weren't quite sure, like after release, what the financial outlook would be and whether we'd be able to devote even one full-time person to it. Luckily, we are in a position where we can devote a full-time to it, which is good because there is more stuff. There's actually a few things I know Michael wants to add. There's a number of things. Every stream I end up making the Trello list bigger, but that's just kind of how it goes. We're in a position we probably will end up putting some more resources on it, but we'll probably get the new game out first. I think I said this probably in like January, but my hope is that the next stream, and we're gonna try to do it like this unless I get tons of feedback how ugly I am or something. My hope though is the next stream we'll do it the same way, and we'll be announcing the new game.
Just gonna quickly introduce what we want to do today. I've actually used this save for some debugging and some testing around, and I've noticed one issue. On the peaks, our ticketing is pretty overloaded, since we only have this small ticketing zone and the couple kiosks over here. I want to leave this like eating area and get phone chargers and the ATM, maybe even add a small cafe. So I'm gonna go ahead and move all these offices and the maintenance area over up to the new office building, and probably add some ticketing over here.
How about some parking?
Oh yeah, want to talk about the new feature?
Well, can we? Well, at least build me a parking lot.
Let's build a couple. Do you want to talk about the new feature while I build them?
Yeah. So this is one everyone has asked for since the beginning of time. I think we originally released a picture of a parking garage probably 3 years ago or so. It never made it into the game. Still, it never will. We ended up going a different direction than just having like a structure. Although I guess it's kind of similar. But yeah, basically, finally now can get parking in. Can charge money for it. It works like it should. Be careful, don't charge too much. You're going to end up not having a ton of people use it. But I mean, generally, mechanic wise, it works pretty much as you would expect. Pretty happy to have it in. Also, we get underground as well.
Yeah, I
Get underground.
I may build a couple of ones down around this area, possibly even this area, and just add them up. But I've just placed some up here. Let's speed up the game and see it in action in a minute.
Yawaris on Twitch said, "Where is the menu?" He was talking, I believe, about the Sandbox menu. Where is that? That's on the bottom toolbar. I
Yeah,
guess
it's on the
we're
bottom
covering
toolbar.
it up.
Yeah. So you can see my hover box on the bottom and on the right
it's right
end of it.
right around here.
Yeah. Well, not on my save, but on any sandbox save, it will be there.
Yeah, it'll only be in sandbox mode. And Yawaris also mentioned on Twitch that the Steam stream doesn't seem to be working. You know, we have every time we stream, we always stream to all three, to Twitch, to YouTube, and to Steam. And we've only had one stream on Steam that was flawless, that had no glitches throughout. We have tried all the different settings. We've made sure it's using the recommended settings. We're using the recommended vendor for restreaming, which is restream.io. And I don't know. I should probably email them or make a post in the dev forums about it. It's intermittent for me. I see it, like right now, I see it is working, but we've only, like I said, we've done this probably now 15, 20 times. And there's only been one that I know was flawless playback on the Steam side. So unfortunately, I'm not really sure what the hell the issue is. But I'm going to put on my list to check out.
The first part. Let's go a bit high with the pricing. $15 an hour seems realistic.
Where did my chat go? There it is. Aloe says on YouTube, still can't go to the barber around here. I'm not sure that we can around here either. It's I'm in Vegas, so this town is pretty much shut down still. I think they're gonna open the casinos though pretty soon. Green Gemini said voice matches the description of the longer hair. That's what I was picturing. Yeah, it's funny. My wife and I were looking at some wedding pictures the other day, and she's like, "Holy cow! I married." What'd she say? I married the dude. If you haven't seen The Dude, if you haven't seen that movie, what is it? What's the name of the movie? I cannot think of it. It's hilarious. It's a bowling movie, and I love bowling.
No one wants to park on our parking lots. Maybe $15 an hour is too high.
Good evening, Mark Roblox. We're doing pretty good. You know, all things considered, it's the world has changed quite a bit. It's a hell of a 2020. I cannot remember a year like this in a long time. Even on the positive side, like the SpaceX launch yesterday. Hopefully, a lot of you guys watched it. It was pretty exciting. I was talking to my older brother about it, and he said it's so incredible. He remembers as a kid watching the shuttle launches, and they had an overhead projector. They were watching, this crappy quality. It's incredible now. You got HD view over the shoulder of these guys in this crazy touchscreen cockpit, and yeah, it's good to see some good news here and there, though. But yeah, we're doing pretty well. He also, Mark on YouTube asked, can we please have some storage options for coffee kiosks and bars? It's not helpful them running out of stuff at midday. What do you think about that?
We've actually talked about that a little on the Discord. For an immediate thing, you can always look at transport and deliveries. The retail delivery will include kitchens and all the other stuff. So if you put that down to 2 hours, or even 12 hours, you get more deliveries per day. The discussion then on Discord was really interesting. That was more thinking about some sort of in-house storage system, so that you had something like a storage zone, and your workman could just fill up the storage and the retail storage then, and either the retail workmen and the retail workers, like these guys, will get the stuff, or workmen will just carry it around.
Right now, they're getting delivery direct. They're not getting kitchen deliveries.
What?
The kiosks and the bars, the coffee kiosks. And the bars.
Coffee kiosk will get the kitchen delivered, but the kitchen will only get deliveries once every set amount.
So, and you have storage for the kitchen already. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I don't totally follow. The bars are the same way, aren't they? No, the bars get direct delivery from the delivery driver.
Yeah, bars get the direct delivery. The kitchen only has the storage inside the kitchen. And the request was to have some sort of storage zone specifically for stuff that would go into the kitchen or the cafe directly. So, for example, a cafe has the drink machines and the coffee maker, and those guys usually get used up really, really quickly. Whereas maybe the pizza stuff or crisps in the kitchen storage aren't used up as fast. So having some sort of mass storage for retail retail stuff and kitchen stuff would be interesting.
I follow. So yeah, some of those types of things are a little scary to add. We start messing with supply piles, and supply piles are a mixed bag. It's pretty easy to make a mistake with that code that causes all kinds of issues and bugs. That's an interesting tactic you use there to copy. Why don't you just clone it?
Could have cloned it. Wait.
That was a cool
Pause.
tactic, though.
Cancel. We need to cancel keybind. Cancel.
Mark on YouTube said, by the way, Josh had told me I can spam suggestions on here because it's more likely to be done than putting it on Discord. I think that might be true. And permission granted. Modifier said, I hope it will in the future be possible to mod roads, taxiways, and runways. And there's really nothing preventing it.
Well, it's completely different than most other systems, so it's
they're just
a little different.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only issue with it.
Snake Master Epic on YouTube says, will we be getting a Passport Control Customs DLC at some point? Probably not. Honestly, I don't think that. I'm just unconvinced. I actually recently saw on the forum, what's the point of security if there's never a security threat? And I ask the same question about real life too, every time I fly. Like, do these guys catch any threats? And is my bottle of water seriously a threat? That said, I feel this kind of the same about passport control. It's kind of just another box to check. I wouldn't, if we were going to do it, it wouldn't be as DLC. If anything, I'd rather do cargo. I think there's more cool, fun logic mechanics, kind of like Factorio style logical. I don't want to say puzzles, but kind of in that realm. Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, the whole game is kind of a puzzle in how you have to expand everything, and you got to do it sequentially in a way that you can continue to scale up without creating bottlenecks. But I think that is exactly, I mean, that's what draws me into this kind of game. And I think cargo has much better opportunities for being fun and kind of tweakable like that. Mark, Mark on YouTube said, for storage, I was thinking an internal storage area which possibly has coffee beans, soda, crisps. This could be then used to deliver stuff to vending machines and coffee kiosk bars. Yeah, it makes tons of sense. I can actually tell you that is how it works in the new game. But I also know that it's, like I said, it's some of the supply pile stuff gets tricky and a little risky code wise. And I read the reviews, and the tolerance for bugs is at an all-time low, which kind of ties our hands on how much risk we can take. I mean, we could take big risk, but I like want to cry when I see the reviews at Mixed after having poured 4 or 5 years of my life into the game, like literally. Maybe I'm just too thin-skinned. I don't know, but it makes me not want to take real big risks, honestly. Yeah, I mean that's just the truth of the matter. I will say the new game, and it's not airport related or anything, but we do the way inventory. There's a bigger emphasis on inventory and like the supply chain, um, if you can call it a supply chain.
It's somewhat of a supply chain.
Yeah, some of those like exact same concepts work.
So Alo just wrote dangerous branch for risk, and the dangerous branch only works to some extent for risk stuff. The issue is, so what does the dangerous branch perfectly work for? Let's say we add a rework or a feature which we know it is really beneficial, but we don't know if it works on, let's say, all systems, or if it works on Linux. We can test all distros. So we can specifically ask you guys to test something really specific. But stuff like the supply pile change that storage would need, it's more broad. It can happen on more different occasions in the game. And if you only have a couple of people test on the dangerous branch, which is already less than on the edge branch, then you run into the issue that you just don't find these scenarios at some points. You just don't find every scenario. So you still have the same risk, or just about the same risk, while having no real benefit.
That's exactly right. So the edge branch works really much better for this, but it's got some issues too. But what Josh is saying is we can use like the dangerous branch to get really broad strokes of, is this totally messed up or broken, and basically largely for performance reasons. Basically it's something that may be a massive performance gain, but that is, we're not totally sure is going to just work. Like algorithmic changes, stuff like that, where it's going to be fairly obvious fairly quick if it's working or not. Stuff like supply piles, where you need, I mean, literally thousands and thousands of hours of testing against them. It just, I mean, we had a supply pile bug this last cycle that has existed for, it was on edge and never got reported for at least 3 or 4 weeks. So even edge branch is getting to the point, and part of this is just the game is much older now, and there's just not quite as much gameplay hours going into some of this stuff, which means it becomes more risky to push that stuff. And then once it's on default, the tolerance for bugs is like, at this point, nil. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I mean, in the old days, I guess what you would do is you would make SimAirport 2, and I don't know. I don't want to do that kind of crap. I want to, yeah, I want to strategically tackle the stuff that isn't putting us at massive risk, and that adds the most gameplay value. I mean, it's a balance. That's why like cargo is one that I think. Yeah, I mean, Sia Cal said conveyor belt highways. Exactly. Like I think that's, there's a lot of gameplay potential there, and even though they could introduce bugs, they would mainly be confined to that area. It's also something that would probably get pretty good coverage from edge players, with a big new feature like that.
It's also pretty mostly, or a big amount of new code. so it's not too
Right.
hard to find issues in, at least for the first edge cycle.
Yeah, it's low likelihood of breaking existing stuff. Jan said, "Give me a big, extensive blueprint system." So I think what you mean by that is like more advanced clone tool stuff, where you can like save the clone tool
No,
and
actually,
share.
basically sharing it.
Yeah, sharing.
Was a talk on the Discord too, since you said last time you pretty much implemented it to be working
Yeah,
for sharing, and I said, yeah guys, if you want to, you could actually make a mod to already share it. I think it would work out of the box.
yeah. When I built the cloning tool, I built it with sharing in mind. It would be very easy. It would be especially easy for us to do.
So workshop sharing, clone tool stuff.
Is that, yeah? What's the main thing you want to be able to see in a blueprint tool, Jan, and anybody else? Is it workshop sharing? Is it copying it and being able to reuse it between saves yourself? You tell us. I have added it to my list to get onto Trello. It really is. When I built the clone tool system, it was built with sharing in mind, and probably a couple days work to hook it up to workshop type stuff. But yeah, tell us more about what you're seeing there. Um, Green Gemini on YouTube. I'm excited about the new game. Yeah, I am too. I'm pretty pumped about it. See a cow. Will the new game be in the style of SimAirport texture wise? No, the new game is full 3D. Very gameplay wise, it's the same. It's a management game through and through. Maybe a little less macro. I won't say micro, man. It's not micro at all, but you're not gonna. Maybe my favorite thing about it is that the life cycle of the agents is much longer, and so there's more opportunity for interesting things to happen. Airports are actually not the best setting for this kind of game because that agent's only on screen for, he's only alive and in your airport for a pretty short amount of time if he wants to catch his flight. So you can't do quite as much interesting stuff as I originally desired. I mean, the AI is set up to be, some people think it's too emergent and doesn't, it should be more rigid, and it's just not what I wanted. And maybe that was a mistake, but that's something that, yeah, it's going to be, the new game is going to be much longer life cycles, and yeah, it's full 3D. Yeah, Mark Roblox. My second idea is mass people floor changing moving walkway travelator should take up more space. Yeah, I
Basically,
remember we talked about this, didn't
what I
we?
showed you one day, yeah.
Yeah, you should. I've like never seen this, and yeah, you showed it to me.
Yeah, basically it was after going into holiday and going through Palma Airport, which has those big ramps because the security stuff is on, I think, level 3, but the main terminal and the stuff going out into the back is on level 2. So you have this huge ramp, 100, 200 meter long, and wide enough to have a walkway on it, plus stuff to and a space to walk down, and that would be a really big floor transition, pretty much, with infinite capacity.
I don't know. I remain unconvinced. I guess I don't know. It's something you could do with a mod too. You basically just copy escalator and make it bigger. The only thing is,
it may not work. It may not be infinite.
yeah, it's
The
making
capacity
it
may
infinite.
be.
Well, the capacity should not be infinite. It should be high. It should work like moving walkways where.
Not really. Capacity should be the same as a floor. Like, this floor is 4 wide. And if we build a ramp 4 wide and pretty much as long as this one, so let's say 13. Say this is a ramp. Then
Okay, it should
be
scale.
the same as this.
Okay, I follow. The capacity, though, it should scale linearly with the size of the width, basically. I mean, you shouldn't be able to get 200,000 people onto it in one instant. It should be like if it's 4 wide, then maybe you get 12 people on per moment or something. I understand what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I still I stand by my conviction that it's not infinite.
Well, it would only be infinite because we have no person running into each other stuff.
Well, we did. Michael disabled it.
So yeah, currently, since any cell can have infinite amount of passengers in it, technically that ramp would be infinite too.
Yeah, I follow.
To say it the other way around so everyone understands, the ramp would have the same capacity as any other floor piece in the game.
Yeah, we basically we fake it for all the level changing objects. Yeah, Agent Floor Portal is what you're going to be wanting to look at. TB Flash, that's exactly right. It really, you should be able to do quite a bit with it. It's just a matter of the, what is it called now? Agent Traversal or something like that. The little struct that gets returned being like a rapid one, and then it returns a heuristic too for pathfinding.
Possibly? I don't know anymore.
Portal. I think it's called Portal Traversal. Yeah, congrats, Mod Air. That is David S. on YouTube mentioned. Congrats, awesome work to Mod Air, having over 800 mods on the workshop. That is pretty freaking awesome. And Mod Air also mentioned on YouTube, you can already do a hotel. We have all the things in game to mod it. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could probably even add a need by a mod for.
Fun fact. Sorry, I have to actually stop you there. Fun fact.
Yeah.
BR, one guy on Discord, actually just was able to do so. He did some injecting using a library, and he was able to create a custom need and a custom zone. And he was nice enough to share all the stuff he did with me on the modding library. So next week sometime I will probably remove all the injection stuff he had to do and replace it with base game stuff. So at that point the modding library also contains a needs manager and a zone manager, which you can just register new zones and needs for.
Sweet. That's very cool.
Yeah, the only thing missing then would be some custom AI system. So that you could, so for you Arthur, that you could customize the FPO.
Well, in theory, you don't want, well, to run additional eval. You gotta be careful. It's really easy to break stuff.
Well, maybe not additional. What about having a completely different FPO? So let's say you have an FPO and AI. The FPO mostly is the AI. So what if you have a custom FPO that it completely replaces the base game one, and let's say it's a hotel FPO. So the modder made one that specifically doesn't care about flying within your airport, but follows some other rules that would mean that they would go into a hotel room and sleep for a night.
So, I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but my first inclination is you'd be better off just removing. So when the passenger spawns, he gets certain needs, and if you just don't give him, you give him only the needs that you want. The need system evaluation is only going to care about the needs that the passenger has. So if you added 2 custom needs and you spawn a passenger that only has those 2 custom needs, then the entire FBO system, and when we say FBO, we say that means find best object. It's basically the passenger AI. It's the crux of it. There's a lot of like nitty gritty about how it does that, but it basically comes down to running scores for objects with lots of heuristics and distances and all kinds of stuff. But in theory, in my mind, the AI, it's just a matter of what needs you give it. The evaluation of deciding which object satisfies him is purely based on his needs and the need level, the increment, and the curve. So to me, it's a more matter of just adding needs and just changing what needs the guy spawns with. And part of the reason I say that is we use basically the exact same AI system for the new game, just with a totally different set of needs. And you still get that same emergent behavior. In the new game, it's more acceptable. You don't need quite as much rigidity as you do in SimAirport, where you really want the guy 99% of the time to just go do what you want. Part of that's just a matter of scaling, balancing, but the other part of that is what needs he actually has. Yeah, I'm not opposed to allowing overwriting of FBO too, but you could very easily break the game like that because it's touchy and tuned. It's tuned to be smart about like security and stuff like that, and life cycle distance. Yeah, to me, the answer would be more along the lines of adding and removing needs, but yeah.
Yeah, that will be possible with the next. Well, it technically is already possible if you just copy paste the stuff we are pushed up, but it will be native.
Yeah.
Sometime next cycle.
I see 2006. Aiko, maybe you missed my question. Very minor thing. Shouldn't there be a picture on the extinguisher tool, or is it just a dev tool?
Oh yeah, the extinguisher tool still has the X picture.
There should be a picture there. It is basically just a dev tool, though.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it? You're not in Sandbox here, are you?
No, I've got it here. I think I left it in for people if they just don't like their airport completely burning down, since fire is pretty strong.
Okay, so we'll get an icon in, and then yeah, I do want to remove it from.
Only have it in Sandbox.
Yeah, it was intended to be a dev tool. I said this I think the last 2 streams now, but I am dying for some more fire control tools. Specifically, I want something that prevents fire, and I want something that gives you some ability to put it out locally, like an extinguisher that a workman could run to and attempt to put it out. Possibly, yeah. I've talked about like alarm system type thing. I would like to do more. Yeah, sprinklers. We talked about last stream. I think sprinklers. I'd like an alarm system, and I'd like you not to get alerts, notifications about fire unless you have an alarm system. And the alarm system only has so much distance. And then if there is an alarm system, then a workman would be alerted and could run over if there's a nearby fire extinguisher and attempt to put it out, or at least to quell it until the fire trucks show up. Basically, I want to see more fire shit. Like, I don't want to go crazy with it, but it's just barely enough right now to be an event. It doesn't have quite enough controllability to be what I would deem a mechanic. Yeah, so right now there should be a smoke effect, but it'll be local too. And until this most recent patch, it was not uncommon for there to be fires happening that you didn't notice until you saw the fire department show up because they were on a floor below you or something. Yeah, adding a subtle effect, that's not a bad idea. Like, if it's on the below floor, even showing a little subtle effect above and below, like, and potentially a whole screen effect at some point, or some really subtle indication. And then, yeah, I really do want to do alarm system and extinguishers, so that it just makes sense to me. Like, and sprinklers is a potential.
TB just wrote, I want to work on putting a fire station on the airport, but the fire trucks spawn out of spawn and don't have tasks like the baggage car and remote bus. Yeah, the non-apron vehicles don't run tasks. They still run on what is it called? The state machine. So
Yeah,
they
can't
don't have a
stand it.
task. You just give them a state. And if you give them the correct state, so take a look at the spawner class and check for. Actually, don't take a look at the spawner class. I think the fire trucks are spawned on the fire manager. So check the fire manager and check how the trucks are spawned in that class. And if you spawn the fire trucks the way they are spawned in the fire manager, you can get pretty much the same effect as you have in game. And you just have to set the position, so where they are spawned. Should work fine. The issue would be that you need a custom state to get back. So if you spawn them on the apron,
Right.
they usually would just go to the exit of the airport. You'd have to hook up some extra state, which will be pretty hard.
This drives me crazy and is something we did fix in the new game. Everything should be task based. That way, like, and this was an oversight. This was part of us not, when we started, not understanding what didn't scale in Unity. You and I were just talking about this, Josh. Like what we would do different.
Yeah.
With now knowing how Unity works and what parts of Unity really suck and are too slow, and this is another one. We'd largely fix it in the new game, but basically, I wish all these agents, even the vehicles, I wish they all were task manager based, using a single task manager, task runner, so that then, yeah, you could inject any task you wanted. I think fire manager spawns to spawner. Yeah, it does, but it's the same thing. You can copy the code. So what it does, it enqueues them into the spawner's vehicle queue, and it does so at a very high priority, so that they're going to be the next to spawn. But instead, you can look at what code actually occurs when they get spawned, copy that, and then set the position to wherever you want. So the only issue, like you said, was you are not going to be able to, you're going to be a little bit stuck when they finish. Like, they're going to by default transition into their leave state. I'd have to pull up the code. I haven't looked at their code, but can we put them on task, man?
possibly should work fine. Basically, they don't do too much. The fire trucks are pretty simple anyway. They spawn, they drive to a specific road node close to the fire, which can be done via task. And then they wait for the firemen to come back. They spawn some firemen, then they wait for firemen to come back, and then they just despawn.
Yeah, then the problem is they do it into a leaving state instead of switching into a task for leaving. Okay, I've got that on the list to transfer. I think that one's probably one that we can transition. Like, my ideal goal would be to transition all the vehicles to purely task-based because, yeah, I mean, we realized later on that's what made sense. Tasks do have a few issues with them, though, because of C# and really because Unity is running this very ultra old garbage collector and may never update it. So there are a few problems, but it's much more modular. So Sia Cal on YouTube. Will the new game have extensive modding support? Right out of the gate, it should be maybe a little behind or parallel to SimAirport's level. Structurally, we fixed a lot of these things that are the issue, like this one you just brought up. The real issue here is that we've got these state machines and you can't override the methods very easily. Like, it requires hacking around it instead of just building a new task and shipping a task to it, which that's really much easier to work with. And I mean, it's like logical and how things are normally done. We've solved most of those structural problems, so it should be when we do go ham with the modding side, you're going to be able to do a hell of a lot more. It's a lot cleaner. We've already done a good bit of work on making the visual side be moddable. Being able to import custom textures and stuff for the new game. It's like if you have pictures or you might have TV screens, importing your own videos to play on the in-game TV screens, that kind of stuff. Basically, the answer is out of the gate, it may be a little limited, but if you're willing to get your hands dirty, you could do exactly the same as SimAirport and quite a bit more. Pretty quickly, we will be adding, and I don't want to hang myself here, but pretty quickly, possibly even before release, we may be adding substantially more mod support. It's a major, huge priority to me. I wish we had prioritized it more with SimAirport earlier. I wish we had been masters of C# when we originally released SimAirport. But what you can do, you can't be everything to everybody. We try. Mark Roblox. Could it be done so we have a fire station, hire firefighters so that in the airport? So yeah, the firefighters are going to be all task-based. I think.
Yeah, they are task-based.
Purely, right?
Yeah, it's one task.
Oh, it's only... Okay, so yeah, you could spawn firefighters and just have them be at the airport forever. They could just literally hang out in a fire station, and then they could run to the fire from there. And in theory, I guess you could make your own new fire truck, like an in-airport fire truck that just inherits vehicle, I guess. And then they could
hang a vehicle possibly in that case then.
What's that?
If it's on the apron anyway, it should possibly probably be hangar vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that would work though. You could do a lot of that out of the box right now with Fireman. Snake Master Epic. Will the new game have a soundtrack? That's a very interesting question and a good one.
Before you continue, I'm just gonna really quickly enable my leg. Back in 1 sec.
No worries. That's a very good question, and it's interesting timing because we just finalized a deal with a incredibly good composer, and I'm extremely excited about it. Michael is through the roof. I think he might have beaten Dragon to the International Space Station. He was pretty pumped. So yes, there is a soundtrack. We'll be talking more about that as soon as we announce the game, which I'm hoping will be on the next stream. And I'm also hoping that you will actually get a preview of some of that soundtrack during the next stream as well. I'm extremely excited, and I spent a lot of the last week or so working on making that deal happen, and I'm really excited with who we've got. He is, let's just say, he's a master of composition and of composing for this genre. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'm super excited. Mark Roblox, final ask. For now, we won't hold you to that. Doesn't have to be your final answer. But for now, will the per gate reserve gate be put into SAME now that we have the gate control system? I'm going to turn this one over to Joshua. I'm not sure what that means. And before start, I'm going to sneak away as well, since you did, and smoke a cigarette.
Too bad. Because I wanted to talk about it with you.
Well, maybe I will put on my headset while I'm smoking a cigarette and discuss it off video. I'm gonna get a sign here that says "Gone Smoking" for next stream.
You don't have to. Chairs there for you.
Chairs there for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I shall return. I shall be right back.
Lovely, guys. Now we have me and Cher. Wait. There you go. It's not a perfect complete Cher stream, but it's a stream of me and Cher. So the per gate reserve gate. Mark, I think what you mean is the possibility to have a gate group, which is now possible using the new gate policy, which we can just show off in the same moment. So under gate control, under operations control panel gate control, you have the policy system now. We removed the gate closure setting and moved it into this new system. And basically the system works so that you have gates, you can add the gates to a specific policy, and in that specific policy you can have stuff for the gate group. So let's say I want a gate group for remotes. So add a new remote gate, and let's see which gates are remote for me. R1, R2 and R3. So let's add R1, 2 and 3, and let's say I want a closure time of 5 minutes, apply changes. Now I have the closure time for just these gates on the remote gate policy. So, and the interesting question then is, which cameras autofocus, chair or me? Because chair I can change, but mine I can get into focus again. On the gate stuff, so Mark, the interesting thing is what we could do now is we could say that a specific gate group should always be used. So if we have R1, R2, and R3, and one of the three is not is still filled up, the plane could use the next one. I think that's what you meant. I'm turning transparent. Wait. Let's just use something really big. Better now? Probably my chroma keying too. Let's see. I'll put me down a little bit. And use some more light. 1 second, guys. It should be a little bit better now. Bye bye, Kyle. Yeah, that was that was just me switching over to desktop, which is blue, the standard Windows 10 image. No, I don't want to purchase land. And at Snake's Buster Pig, we already have standby gates. Yes, we have standby gates, but that would be a bit more of a fine controlled standby gate. Oh, my camera is a bit better now, and I'm not vanishing. Light is not the best, and the sun is going down, so I have to work with changing light while playing. Terminal security. They are fine. A wild Arthur appears. Oh wait, I have to change that.
I have returned. Right, so we had missed a few questions over on Twitch. Chair is back, and I even have a name again.
By the way, did you listen to the stuff I said?
Yes, I did.
So basically, at one point we talked about gate grouping, which is now possible by since we've added the gate policy stuff, and we talked about being able to say a gate group should be used by planes interchangeably. So if one is still blocked, it will just use the next one.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. It's more a matter of making a good UI to do it. You and I had some difference of opinion on the UI for the gate control stuff, and like the gate control stuff, it's not overly complex. The main thing, it's mainly similar. It's a matter of coming up with a UI that doesn't make it too hard. There is a sentiment that I see in reviews that there's already an awful lot of complexity. I also similarly, I'll read reviews here and there that say it's too simple. I don't know. If you could come up with a way to do it where it's logical and it's useful for more than just the 15 of us that know exactly how to use it, I'm all for it. I'd almost rather go with temporary parking spot stuff, though. I think that has more, you know what I'm talking about, like to allow a plane to land early, and you can leverage that same type of stuff. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, though. It's really a matter of, to me, it's mainly UI, making it a decent user experience. Okay, yeah, sorry. So over here on Twitch, there were several that we missed. I was kind of ignoring Twitch. I forgot about it because YouTube's just popping off like crazy. Eurus had a number of comments on Fire stuff. Yeah, I agree with. It kind of echoed some of my thoughts. More things. Said that the response, the passenger response to fire, is not quite localized enough. I've put that down to take a look at. He also said, don't look in the spawner class. It's too messy in there. I can't wholly disagree with that. All I can do is apologize. AW Rules on Twitch asked, I've always wondered, each of those individual squares when laying things out, is there a real-life ratio as to how big each square is? For example, 3x3, 4x4, etc. It's a very good question. I believe I probably answered this best in some forum posts, or maybe it was on Reddit. We used to get asked a lot about the scale, and even now I know some people think that the scale is stupid, or I don't know. So the way we did it was basically there are two scales. There's an indoor scale and there's an outdoor scale, and they are different. I'd have to go look at my old notes. I believe we set the outdoor scale at something like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but basically what we did is we made two distinct scales. And the reason for that is that movement time takes, in a game like this where you have time scaling, you don't want fast forward to have guys like going, what is on my light? It's funny looking. You don't want, is it my chroma keying or something?
No, that's, I can see it on Slack too. That's definitely just Slack being Slack.
You don't want things to be going in an instant. And so if we made the outdoors full scale size, then at speed 3, everything would be like, it would be a blur. It would be moving so freaking much in one frame that not only would it look funny, but it becomes a processing nightmare. And the same thing applies indoors too, to an extent, but the scale indoors is intended to be consistent with the agent scale. Outdoors is intended to be consistent with outdoor stuff. It was a conscious decision. That said, though, when we originally released the game, the longest runway, I think, was 45 tiles or 90 tiles. And you couldn't get a larger map, and the map was like smaller than the current smallest map size. It was like really tiny, and you'd be lucky to get 100 passengers in the airport. It was buggy and laggy. Had to do it again. We might make the outdoor scale a little bit bigger, but it doesn't, as long as the scale relative to each other is right. In my mind, I actually like the way it ended up, where you've got these two distinct scales. The indoors and outdoors don't interact all that much. And because of movement speed being so slow, like, it doesn't scale exactly right with real life, and you don't want it to. It'd be boring as hell. That's just how like games like this have to do things. You have to make some concessions somewhere, otherwise you might as well be like working a job. I like the load balancing I'm seeing on there.
Which load balancing?
On the escalators.
Seems to be some problem with it, by the way.
It seemed a little better than last stream.
That's just the workman. I've got to notice that we take a look at it for next cycle. Specifically, I can show you later once the flights come in. Actually, no, not these ones. Once the first passenger load comes in, usually the first escalator is used way more than the second one.
It's kind of expected. It's a tough problem because they all probably pathfind about instantaneously. All I could do is slight tweak, though. We can explore portal load balancing heuristic. We can improve that a little bit. Let's see, on Twitch, AKS and Axinator. So if I understand it right, you're creating a complete new game. Yeah, we're working on so SimAirport was our first title ever made. We worked on it for, it was in early access just under 3 years, and we worked on it for a year prior to that. Kind of like this game making stuff, and my wife hasn't said I have to go get a real job yet. Crossing my fingers that she maintains that posture. So yeah, we are currently working on our second title, and now we have a little bit better idea of like how making games works and what does and doesn't work within Unity, within programming, within finding talent. Guys like Joshua aren't easy to come by. Even just in knowing what players expect on launch day. I mean, SimAirport is always going to be my baby. Like, we didn't know C# when we first started SimAirport. I had never heard of Unity. And we just I was sick of working on web apps and making another software as a service form or another CRM. I had a background in deploying enterprise application stuff, and it was just boring. So we're like, hey, this would be fun. Let's make a game. And here we are now 4 years later, and yeah, so we're working on the next one. This will always be my kind of baby, but at the same time, we've been fortunate. It's been relatively successful, but it's not Minecraft or anything. Can't retire. So yeah, there's a part of me that's excited about the new game because some of the shit that we just did really stupidly this time around, we can not do that. I also, being full 3D, we've put an emphasis on making the new game actually look like not just acceptable, but like good. I should be careful though. You guys are gonna get expectations really high and then gonna look like an idiot. But hey, it wouldn't be the first time. Whereas I know the C# problems began with they did write a script for a game. The Space Engineers 200K letter limit stopped working on it. Yeah, actually, I love C# though. I will say, it's C# isn't the issue. It's Unity. Won't get started. Josh and I have been talking about this a little. I've got some. I don't know. If you went and looked up my username on the Unity forums, you could find me griping and asking Unity to please fix some bugs that are causing pain for our players. But yeah, what you can do, that's how it goes in any industry. You're always going to have a vendor you're pissed at. Let's see. Over here on YouTube. The ability to assign different baggage claim carousels to specific gates or gate groups is something Snake Master Epic asked about. Right now it's done based on availability and connectivity. I could see it being a mess. Yeah, I think it's doable though. It's similar. It's mainly a UI thing. Hey, there's Michael.
Suddenly, when Michael appears.
How you doing, sir? Good to see you here.
On the what did we just talk about? Baggage claim stuff.
Yeah.
What I could propose in that one is that we have some sort of preferred baggage zone, and you can not just assign the baggage zone to a specific gate, because that would be a lot of micromanaging, but you can assign a specific baggage zone to a gate policy.
The problem with that is you've got to verify reachability for everything in.
Well, that's why I'd say it's preferred. The game tries to prefer the one you set. If it can't, it will just take the next best one, like it just does now.
Yeah, I see that making sense. The only thing is, then you almost need it to be a list, because if you've got a gate policy, 3 gates on it, they all prefer the exact same one. One of them's gonna almost always get the bags to that one first, assuming they all have connectivity, and then you follow.
Not really.
Well, what you end up doing is you basically queue everybody for that one gate, or for that one baggage claim. If you have 3 gates on the same policy, they're all gonna try to hit that priority one, and then only one of them's gonna get it.
I see what you mean. So usually you should probably, as player, make sure that the one baggage claim has enough baggage carousels for one gate, for the gates you apply it to. So in my case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates on the terminal A. I'd group those together into one gate policy and say, oh, let's use this baggage claim.
My guess is you've already effectively done that with the way you've set up the claim, though.
I don't think so, because I've got the second identical zone down here, and both of these zones have to take care of all gates.
You have it all connected.
Yeah, it's one big system.
Gotcha.
So currently it's mixed, whatever is free at the moment. But with the preferred zone, you could say that terminal A, I think that's A, yeah, that's A. Terminal A, please use this baggage claim. Terminal B, please use this baggage claim. And then I've got the remote gate set up on one. Could make a third one, or just use the second one or the first one, whatever.
Can you pull up that the policy screen?
Operations, gate policy. Do you want to see any specific? I've currently got the default one and the remote one. Remote is just.
So we would put another heading here for preferred carousels.
You just put it. I just put it under closure time. I specifically made this form to be extendable. You've got gates at the bottom, and you just click on the gate to add it. And the editing, just the name of it at the top, and you can just add new policy settings. So that would be a new policy setting, not under closure time. It would be preferred baggage claim, and then click to assign, or some or some drop down.
It would need to be you would need to be able to assign multiple carousels.
Well, if you want to build it that far, yes. I would still say one is enough.
No, because you have that issue, like I said, because if you make carousel A1 preferred for 5 gates, only one of those aircraft is gonna get. If 3 aircraft land, one of them is gonna get that carousel. The other ones are gonna end up just picking the next available carousel.
Yeah. So you have a zone with.
So you're back to where you started.
Yeah, if you don't build it correctly. If you build, let's say if you have 5, I've got 6 gates here. Let's say I've got this baggage claim assigned to these 6 A gates. So this baggage claim is only.
You're saying assign the zone. You're saying assign the zone.
Yeah, never would I want to assign a single baggage carousel. That would be way too micromanaging stuff. One specific zone.
I follow.
To the
You're saying zone. Okay.
Yeah.
I follow.
So the
makes sense.
player would have to take some precaution to build enough baggage carousels in one zone. But I mean that's somewhat of a given.
And reachability, but we could warn on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I love it.
And the same thing could actually just be added for preferred security.
I don't know. Never going to convince me on this one.
Why?
I don't like it. I think it's unrealistic, is what I think. I have never, in an airport with multiple securities, as long as they all reach the destination, I've never been told which single security I must use. An example is Minneapolis St. Paul Terminal 2 is that most of the time they'll have two securities open. Same thing actually in Terminal 1. Terminal 1 usually will have like 4 or 5. Well, depending on the day, sometimes 2 or 3. But and yeah, like your ticket might say this is the one we suggest because it's only a 1.5 mile walk instead of a 2-mile walk. But there's no restriction. And that's already how it works, is they're going to prefer the one that's the lowest walk as it is. But they're going to weigh that against queue time, which is exactly what I do in real life. I go to Minneapolis. I always go in the middle door so I can scope out which security zone left or right of me is got the longest lines. And then I go from there. Typically I go to one on the very end because everybody's sitting in the middle.
Are the terminals always interconnected, the secure area?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only case where it makes any sense to have to assign a preferred one. If they weren't connected, then, and our systems are already smart enough, if they're not connected, they're only going to use the one that is. That's why I don't like it, is because it's just not realistic to me. Surely there's an airport somewhere where they do say, even though 3 security zones can all get to your gate, you get up to the front of the line and they say, nope, you can't come in this way, even though it does get to where you're going. TV flash, that's a bug I want to fix. Then I don't want to fix it I don't want to hard code it. And this is where I know I'm like stubborn as can be, and part of this is that some of this stuff maybe is better hard coded in SimAirport because life cycles are so short. But I prefer to like find the bug and fix it versus what I call like hard coding it. It's if they're not being smart about which one to use based on queue time and distance, and not just distance to themselves, but distance to their eventual destination, then that's just a bug we need to fix. And we need a good example of seeing it. I thought that we do have passengers that will run in the last 20 minutes, but that maybe should be looked at.
They don't run, it's just they don't take care about anything else but boarding the plane.
At one point there was a movement speed modifier that kicked in very, very late. It could have been even just it may have only been in board flight task or something.
I think it's definitely not in anymore.
I've added that to the list. Okay, so we'll get them moving faster when they're really late. I mean, it's not going to be like super rapid, but we'll get them, moving faster. Auto assign PA speakers to amps. I'm not exactly sure how that would work. It's probably doable. It seems like, I don't know if you could tell me how it would work. I'm not opposed to it at all. Like it sounds like a good UX improvement. Go back to TV flash though. Yeah, truly, like if you can just give us some examples of when they're picking the bad security, and ideally like on relatively simple-ish maps where, I mean, stuff like around the size of what Joshua's got going here,
Yeah,
where we can reproduce it.
This thing is still really, really debuggable.
Yeah, like if we can see exactly where, if we can see good example, like it becomes super easy for us to tune it. What they're looking at when a passenger decides what to do, and you can use the debug tool to do this. You should find somebody going to security and show it.
PAX A decisions. I guess you guys are doing so. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so, and then if you hover over one of those ID checks, let's see, the quality's terrible on what I'm seeing. My eyes aren't so good.
It's a score.
Switch it. Yeah, okay,
If you want,
so
I can read it out for you.
Distance, wait time, utility, life cycle distance. So what they're doing here is they're taking into account how far away from the agent the security is. Now, do you have another security?
Yeah, on the other terminal.
Can you hover over one of the ID checks?
Yeah, they are not even considered. Well, they are not available since it's a different terminal. But these ones are further away.
Right. So, and hover over another one. Yeah. So, this one, he was still pretty close distance from himself. That first distance number, the wait time, pretty good. The utility, it's full helpfulness, and then life cycle distance. And life cycle distance is how far from this to the gate. So the combination of all those numbers determines what he's going to pick. And this one, basically, it selects of the stuff that's lit up here. It's going to randomly pick one, weighted based on how high the score was. And I think it only picks like the green ones. I'd have to double check what the debug is at this point, but that's how it's working. So what ends up happening is if the life cycle distance and the queue time are misweighted, like if one of them is getting too low too quickly, then it can cause the bad decisions you're talking about. We basically have to just see an example of it and try it. Because the emergent behavior they have is like, is it worth it to grab a meal right now since I don't need to get through security immediately? Like that, in order to preserve it and for them to be smart and choose, like, I should use this security even though it's a little bit further walk and further to my gate because the wait time is tiny versus the other one. But how about you build another security and we can test this?
Build another security? That takes actually pretty long. Also, where do you want me to build it? I've got
right
two
there.
In the middle. Or what?
Or connect. Can you connect those hallways?
You mean the two terminals?
No, you've got. Do both these securities, top and bottom on the left, do they go to the same? Are they both reachable? Oh, so we could have compared. So
I just did. We compared one from top and one from the bottom here.
Gotcha. Okay, and that guy was headed to which gate? To one of.
Just some probably up here, I guess. Let me see. Let's try again.
Right. In theory, though, what we should be seeing is A5 and A6. All those passengers should be using the north security.
Yeah. So Marilla it needs to go to gate A5, and this shows this ID stand. They are pretty much all pretty close, and specifically the LC distance is 0.991, whereas the best LC distance down here is 0.979.
Okay, so that should, yeah. I mean, that's what's happening, though. Hopefully that makes sense. I think and TB, it seems like you've got a really good grasp of like how this how this shit kind of works anyway. But you can use that and to kind of see. It is possible that, well, for one, there was a bug during Edge. Joshua made some adjustments. Oops. That should be fixed now.
Yeah, they are fixed.
That was throwing off one of the distance heuristics, and when that gets thrown off, the balance between distance versus wait time gets skewed, and that's like the entirety of how the AI works is like basically weighing distance versus wait time, which is like a shockingly hard problem, especially to do in real time, and you have to project what the wait time is going to be in the future by the time you get there. And you have to take into account, like, do I have to take an escalator? And yeah, I mean, something seemingly really simple gets complex pretty quick, but that's part of what navigating an airport is. All we would be doing, like, if we allowed you to make a recommendation, that would just be adding another heuristic to that same scoring thing. I wouldn't want to hard code it. Yeah, it comes back to basically, I want to keep it emergent, even if it means I'm just being a stubborn asshole. TB Flash said, I find the problem on larger maps with multiple terminals: flight, terminal A, enter security, and go to terminal B, do stuff in B, and then finally go to A, but too late. That should never happen. The agent should never go through security for the wrong terminal, ever.
Well,
and we just saw
there was a bug in the last Edge cycle, just in the Edge cycle, that where it actually happened, but that has been fixed a couple of weeks ago already.
Okay.
So it was actually happening, but it isn't. It shouldn't happen anymore. But I think what TB means in this case is that if the two terminals are connected, but we define stuff as terminals, even if they are connected, it's two different terminals to us. We say it's two different terminals, but what we mean is it's just two different parts of the airport.
But they're still connected?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in that case, the life cycle distance should be keeping them tight.
To some extent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll, to the extent that they can service their needs, tight. When I say tight, I mean they're gonna prefer to choose objects that are nearest their gate. That's what that life cycle distance is. But yeah, I mean, the gist here is we basically need to see a save that has this issue, and we just got to pull up that. We use that exact same tool. I mean, all the data is there on that tool, and it's actually, it could be a little overwhelming, but it does tell you exactly like what or why they're doing what they are. So if we can get a save that shows it, then we can make tweaks. It's just we have to be careful making tweaks because they need to be really smart about weighing distance versus wait time, because distance takes quite a bit of time to traverse, and by the time they actually traverse it, the wait time could be different. Our stuff is smart and takes that into account and it guesstimates a little bit, but yeah. Discord rich presence. I don't know what that means.
It just, if you play the game with the Discord overlay online and enabled, it shows. So usually it just says example for me, it would be Yosha playing SimAirport. But with Rich Presence, you can add custom stuff. So you could, I think Prison Architect does Yosha playing Prison Architect, having X inmates. And that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah. So you could say for SimAirport having N flights per day, making money, losing money, having a fire, having X people in the terminal.
Googling. Yes, this looks very easy. Sure, why not? I mean, this looks like it could take like two hours maybe. They've got a C# SDK. It looks sweet. I like that idea. All for it. If Michael's still here, we need to add this. So a minute ago, Mark Roblox, that auto-assign PA speakers to amps makes sense because assigning now does nothing. Before it worked out so that speakers link to gates via the amp. Now they don't. Could it therefore be done so that the game says you need 1 amp for 3 speakers? When you're undersupplying amps, it notifies you that you need more amps.
You could possibly make it similar to the remote monitoring station, maybe, so that you have a specific amount of amps, but if the amount of amplifiers you have in your airport is not enough for the amount of speakers you have, the efficiency goes down, and you just get a warning.
Can you click? We removed the gate assignment. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just assigned to PA speakers now.
And you have. Why do you have all of them on that one and only a few on the other?
I think I just built a huge amount, but if you don't assign any, so if you say connect to unassigned, I think it just throws an error. Must be assigned to PA speaker. And just assign it to 1 so it doesn't throw the error. So I have 1 that is already used up completely, and then a bunch of new ones, which are just here if I want to add PA speaker into the second terminal.
I follow.
But yeah, it's a lot of micromanaging the PA stuff. I mean, we already removed the gate assignment.
Okay, yeah, I understand now. There's no reason not to auto-assign. It should just auto-assign until you're out of capacity, and then it can warn if there are speakers that aren't assigned still. I've noted it, and it is now obvious. Thank you for... Honestly, there's some of this stuff is becoming a little foreign to me. I mean, there's definitely areas of code that I haven't looked at in 6+ months that I'm like, can't believe I wrote that.
I'm still finding stuff I have never looked at.
Yeah. Especially, in gameplay, some of this stuff, it takes a little bit, even if it's stuff I wrote, really has to be spelled out for me sometimes. Totally makes sense, though, and that's a really easy one to do. First aid station. Graham Taylor on YouTube. I don't know what that is or what it would do. To stop rioters?
Probably some medkit stuff, kind of stuff.
We'd need the passengers to get hurt by fire.
Yeah. Possibly in a Well, that would be an interesting addition for random events, by the way. Possibly you could add a defibrillator. I think that's called the same in English, right?
A what?
Defibrillator?
Yeah.
The shocking
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have these small stations you put on the wall, which already exist around the world, just to keep people from dying.
Yeah.
You could have
Automatic AEDs, I think they're called.
Yeah, so we could add those with a random event of people, well, falling down and pretty much needing assistance, and possibly either staff or some kind of rescue vehicle coming in to help them, or if the device is hanging close, possibly a passenger. So the passengers have a slight chance to help the other passenger with that device.
We're gonna have people having heart attacks. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just making sure I understand. Okay. I'm not putting that one directly on the list. I see YWER. I'll come back to your second one, but he said you could add sick passengers or like influence. I don't know if you mean influenza, but I actually posted an image in the Edge forum probably a year and a half ago now. I played with it, illness, where it was very contagious and it spread via frustration. And if you had frustrated passengers, there was like 50-50 chance that anybody within a few tiles of them would also get it, and then they would end up doing like a little shaking, I guess, kind of like seizure type thing. The problem is I had it so contagious that you would quickly end up with an airport full of very ill passengers. And it was quite funny though. Yeah, I don't know.
So
it is fitting.
SimAirport's zombie mode at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every game has a zombie mode. Just SimAirport doesn't.
I had it hooked up at one point for Flash Mob, which was freaking hilarious. I mean, I know I'm a dork, but I sat there that day and I could click a passenger, hit a button, and everybody around them would stop they would abort what they're doing immediately, and they would all dance left or right. Prison Architect had something like that, I think, for Halloween, that's where I got the idea. But it was, and I'm like a nerd, but I sat there, I laughed my ass off for probably like an hour.
Why we just said SimAirport Battle Royale, which would pretty much just be you have one plane but 1,000 passengers.
Yeah.
And just one spot in the plane. By the way, Michael asked, did you build this airport from scratch? Yes, it's not from the workshop. This one actually started way back when we did our third or fourth stream. Before I just used some random save I made while not working on SimAirport, but since then we've been playing on this save, adding to it over time.
Or like on stream each time.
Yeah, so I haven't played this save offline except for
maybe the second time.
Actually, no. Even then, I've played it on stream only. I've only used this save to test some stuff, but I never used that save, or just throw whatever I tested away and continue with the original save. So what you see is pretty much always done on stream.
Oh, and there's evidence of this. We can go back and look at the history and verify.
Yeah.
Yeah, YWER. Yeah, I like the flash mob. It's funny. He said, I really like the flash mob of Prison Architect over on YouTube. I'm not sure I ever actually saw it in Prison Architect myself, but I saw YouTube of it, and I thought it was funny. Yeah, Michael, random event, theme, hospital, vomit waves. That's basically what I had going back then. And it was, I don't know why, it was just like really fun.
Including actual vomit?
You know, I think I actually had like red blobs appearing under them. And then they were stuck for like 40 minutes or something. But it caused major problems.
You've played Roller Coaster Tycoon, I guess.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's pretty much that vomit.
Yeah, well, that actually was from the original theme park, Bullfrog's theme park. That same thing would happen there. You would have one guy get off the ride, vomit, and then everybody that would walk by had some chance at vomiting. And if you had a super busy park or one-way pass that were forcing everybody to go down, you could end up hearing the sound effect for puking just back to back to back to back. And then it ended up they copied that concept into Roller Coaster Tycoon. Theme Park was one of my favorite games as a kid. I still remember building kind of like conveyor belts, but you would build these. It's like a lazy river, but it had a high excitement rating in the theme park game. You build it all the way around your park, and it was like instant satisfaction to everybody. It's a fantastic game. Everybody remembers Theme Hospital instead too, and really Theme Park was. I thought it was way better.
Graham Taylor asked horizontal gates in buildings. What would that be?
I'm not sure.
Maybe Graham can further describe what he means.
See if you miss anything over on Twitch. Eurus, yeah, if you make enough money to live, it's a real job. Yeah, it depends on the day. Also with the current the COVID stuff and everything, and the wife and the kids at home. Like this morning, I was trying to set up, get my green screen set up and everything, and my oldest daughter, who's 2.5, she loves to be in Daddy's office right now. That's like her favorite place to be, and she helped me vacuum, and she had her little vacuum in here, and she's, what's that? What's this? Whoa, what's... So there's a constant distraction at the moment, but yeah, it's a job when it pays the bills, I suppose.
Graham writing V terminal, Y terminal. You'll have to go into a bit more detail because I'm still not. You still have. I lost you. You lost me.
Are you talking about like curves and stuff? If so, the answer is no.
It's hard cells. Cells are always going to be cells in SimAirport.
Yeah, it's really tough to work around like doing diagonal stuff. I mean, if we were to keep it at 45-degree angles, I could come up with how we could do that without totally bashing all of our systems in. But by the way, do you have fire off? You must have fire off.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I wanted to have a bit more of a relaxed time this time around.
Next stream, there is no turning fire off. I am disappointed. If you need a relaxed time, then you need fire extinguishers and a fire alarm system.
Yeah.
Right? There we go. That's the solution. It's not to turn fires off. Ugh. Might as well be in Sandbox. Where do you draw the line?
Maybe it's stuff not costing money, or the money being ignored.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna like next time fire must be on. So I think that sounds to me like the only way he's gonna want to get fire on is if he can keep it under control, keep the adrenaline level down.
Because he doesn't have fire stations at the airport. Flash road.
You
I've got parking spots.
have parking spots. And we got working crosswalks too,
Yeah.
even over the light rails. Very good to see.
Yeah, I've actually not gotten any on this save, because I can. So all of the passengers use the underground tunnel like they should be.
Where did those passengers come from?
Which ones?
They were probably going to the parking lot. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, this couple ones are coming and going to the parking lot. Michael says remove all kitchens before you enable fires. Well, all kitchens, you'd have to remove all maintainables, everything that is maintainable and indoors. And you'd have to remove any garbage bin.
And then you're gonna have some other problems if you do all that, because you're gonna have trash everywhere.
You'd also have no security.
Yeah, struggle. I wonder if the trash bin fire rate is too high. Then. If you keep your maintainable stuff well maintained, your risk of fire should be like quite low.
Yeah. Maintainable
that-
only hit once below like 30%.
Yeah, it's basically you can almost completely eliminate as long as you perform maintenance pretty well.
A fire can break out while maintaining it too, but that is depending on in correlation with the condition too.
Security is overrated. I agree.
I think garbage bins are pretty okay, but my passengers are pretty happy with the airport. Like frustration is only at 97. It's up at 97%, and only one passenger is unsatisfied. And the big point that you have to keep in mind is that garbage bins only light on fire if there's a passenger really frustrated, throwing stuff away.
And even then, it's rare.
Yeah. So the passenger
I mean,
must be frustrated. I can use my hand. Frustrated. He has to have some garbage that he wants to throw away, and the random chance has to hit. And only then a garbage bin will light on fire. So the biggest thing mostly is kitchens.
Well, and keeping them from being super frustrated too, obviously. But yeah, I mean, really, the mechanic works well. The biggest issue is that there's no control over. You need a better way to put it out without it wreaking absolute havoc if you do.
Especially on bigger airports.
Yeah, because depending on your layout, and you've done pretty good on this one because you got burned. You got burned on that, literally. You ended up connecting and making a path back because I think you had a underground or on ground floor fire around. Yeah, it was.
Around here.
Yeah, and it took them forever to get to it, so you lost like everything.
Yeah. So having some airborne roads that connect to the usual road system really helps with it.
I would kind of like to see vehicles stop for agents in the crosswalks and the LRT too.
Do you have an idea for how to implement it?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. It can just be. We already have the quad trees built, so it's just a spatial index query. The biggest concern, if anything, is it causing traffic backups, but that's also why. That's the whole idea of why to do it. It's to make it matter where you put your crosswalks.
Could also possibly use a reservation system.
Yeah, that would work too. Although the query, I'd have to double check. The query time is probably 01, whereas checking if you're on a crosswalk for all passengers is going to be
Well, you don't have to
one.
check. You don't have to check for all passengers and all at the time. You just have to check when they reach a new sector.
That's yeah.
The issue with it is that if they reach the crosswalk sector and the road node is already in use, what will the passengers do then? Because the passenger is already on the crosswalk.
You increment. That's kind of why not raycasting, but quad tree may be. Part of it's the scale. Is if you have a lot more passengers crossing in new sectors every frame than you do vehicles crossing into a crosswalk. So the vehicle just needs to check, is it about to be on a crosswalk, in which case, yeah. Way to remove vehicles stuck in a gridlock situation. If you should be able to always do this now, we've got some stuff set up where if you're totally gridlocked, you can build roads and the supplies will teleport in so that your roads can fix without, like, you won't be held up by the delivery.
Well, that's just the delivery. What if you have some underground part where you actually have gridlock just in around parking spaces or something?
Sorry, go ahead.
A gridlock doesn't always have to be the main road. A gridlock can sometimes be just a specific part of your airport. So let's say you have an underground parking space and you have several rotating circular roads around them. It's possible that one gets completely gridlocked.
Is it without one of them ending up in leaving and trying to get, as long as there's a path to exit, it probably is possible.
Yeah.
Actually, based on node size and vehicle size. Okay. You were that. We need to look at that then. That's a little too much fire. If you've got, I assume 91%, you mean 91% passenger satisfaction.
Interesting question would be, what are the fires coming from? Because that's the point we have to lower then. If it's mostly kitchens, so if no maintainable burns and no garbage bin start burning, then it's probably just the kitchen.
Yeah, where are you getting these fires at? Oh, that's quite a few flights.
Quite a few what?
You got quite a few flights. You are rolling in the dough on this airport too.
A couple of them didn't board completely. Just a really few. I'm waiting for the last ones to come by so I can switch in this new ticketing zone. Just needs to be connected in. Why you don't have to take a look right now. If it takes
Yeah.
too long, you can just write us pretty much on every platform.
Yeah, just let us know where you're seeing too much fire. We'll get it turned down.
We could possibly even add a drop down on how many random events you want to have.
That adds. I'd almost honestly. I'd rather just tune it to be. We're gonna take a closer look at some of that stuff this cycle anyway, because I want to do more. I want to do more with the fire. I want to give you like more control and make it more of a mechanic, less of purely random influence. I mean, it's still random like it is, but I'd like it to be you to have some chance, and yeah, like whether that's airport, fire station, and or fire extinguisher, and or
Smoke detectors.
yeah, I like them dying for smoke detectors.
Especially on kitchens.
Yeah, and I'm cool with
Places.
sprinkler too, but uh, as long as they have a negative effect,
So like breaking stuff.
breaking stuff, and probably a large cost. Um, yeah, something like that. A large kind of yeah. Cool. So, anybody else? Any questions? We've been on for about 2 hours. Probably start wrapping it up. Hopefully, we've entertained you. Hopefully, we're not too ugly for you. Like this, I've enjoyed it. It's great to be able to see you, Joshua, while we're doing it. To see each other, it's much easier keep to be like fluid.
Who would guess that communication is better when you can see each other?
Who would ever have thought? Cool. Yeah, well, I suppose we shall wrap it up then. Maybe we'll be able to talk Michael into joining us next time.
Just a little really connect this one, this package up real quick, and then we can end it for today.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette real quick, and
There's a question for you.
Okay, well, perfect. Yeah, if you got questions, start asking them. I will return in 4 to 6 minutes, about one cigarette worth. We'll answer whatever questions you got left. If we're lucky, might even build some more stuff. And I shall be right back. As I tell my kids, Daddy's be right back right now.
Mm-hmm. Guys, we got share again. Michael, you can come on without makeup. I don't put up any either. You just need some stuff which may be hard to acquire at the current times, like a webcam. Possibly a green screen, which really helps. As you can see, we have the game besides me and Arthur. It even looks like we sit right next to each other. Just that I've been looking at the other side of the sun all evening. So probably if we stream it to these times, we need some lighting, some extra lighting. But yeah, we'd be happy to have you join. Why was that? While repairing it or just while using it? Michael, that's a lovely idea too. Cats are always great for live streaming. So you can, just like Chair is currently on helping me stream, we can just do your cat plus you talk over it. While using it at 80%, that may happen, but should be extremely rare. So keep an eye if others fail while it's happening. So if you have a bunch of security objects fail or burn while using, then we know that stuff needs to be turned on. Come on, boys, finish the conveyors. And there you go. It took us the whole episode, or the whole live stream, but we finally got a new ticketing zone. We may have 3 new ticketing zones. I only want 2. And the big ticketing zone name. Why would that's usually happening? Why would it destroy more stuff? It only destroys stuff after some time. Basically, every cell has a specific amount of fuel, and the placeable is some of that fuel. And only once the fuel is down to 0, the stuff that is there is actually broken. So a placeable takes some time to burn away. Lovely. New ticketing area. Anyone got an idea what we could place over here or on this side of this stuff? Probably some new ticketing kiosks, I guess.
Chair has returned.
I need to change it.
You called me Kahir?
What?
I can go with that.
Close enough. Did you listen just now?
Yeah, I did.
So Arthur, yeah. Mike is coming on with cat as picture and voice.
Perfect. I think that is a good way to go.
Huawei is, by the way, reporting that one of his metal detectors was burning at 80%, which is the rarest of rare occasions, but may happen. But no new occasions since then.
I'd like to see if, even if the object isn't destroyed, I would like to see if the fire touches it, it should require maintenance.
Oh yeah, that's possible. I've yeah, you heard what I told him regarding the fuel level, right?
Yeah, um, I'd like to change it so that even if the object isn't destroyed, it like pretty much almost immediately does need the maintenance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it seems logical. We'll turn that down though a little bit too, because we're going to be looking at it to see what exactly.
Snake's Master Epic asked, is the next update the overhang update you talked about last time?
So that is a good question, and it kind of depends on how much of the list that I've just collected, which is 14 items deep. Takes priority over that, and how much time the overhang stuff takes. Also, question for you, unrelated. Sorry, the ticketing zone, the new one. Why is that text?
I have absolutely zero idea, but I just had one idea why it could be. Do you know if we pool zones?
We don't, but we pull the text objects. But it should have gotten a re-request. Try removing and adding one
I already
cell.
had to do that, and it happened again. So it's the same text object. This bug has been in for some time, but it only for a couple of versions now, or even. But I was never able to reproduce it, and it just happened to me.
We try it one more time while I'm watching. If just removing one cell of that zone should force it to recalc
It doesn't.
the max
Wait, if I
rect.
move, yeah, can add to it again. Remove maybe that, and maybe that, and maybe that, and there you go. Now it recalculated. But even after recalculating, it's still the too big size. Position and size is wrong. Rotation is correct. Any idea?
Yes, that text object maybe has auto size turned off.
But why
It
would
might have
this
been.
specific one have it turned off?
It just got unlucky. It got pooled. It was being used for something else, perhaps the security overlay. Not the security.
Sector overlay.
Yeah, like any of the debug screens,
Oh, okay. So that's
and
something I never thought about. All these texts are using the same pooling.
yeah, and so the unpool, something's not being reset.
Okay, cool.
Because I'm almost positive it is the max rectangle is being set right.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that the text is even positioned correctly. It's
It
simply
definitely
just
is.
it's probably I think the alignment is not being set and the auto size boolean is not being set.
Yeah. Could you note that?
Yes, sir.
So I've tried to reproduce this bug over and over again, but it never happened to me until like now. Not quite sure which specific one it is, but I just while playing, while you were gone, I noticed that possibly we pool it, and that's the issue.
Almost surely. I cannot imagine the max rec is wrong. Yeah. There's a decent chance if you flicked on like the sector overlay,
I
something
already
I
did.
use it a lot. I'd change floors even. Oh
Doesn't
yeah,
work.
actually the sector overlay tells you for sure that the max rect is right. So now if you try killing that zone or make a new zone somewhere, and then you could kill it.
Wait, let's make a new zone. Remove this one. Remove this one. Ticketing. There you go. Let's see. So this one should now be fucked. Never mind.
No, because there's probably a ton in the pool, but that tells you that that is the issue.
It's definitely pooling.
Yeah. Fire insurance. That's an interesting idea. YouTube. David S. Flash creating a stats mod. So I have not seen this.
Oh yeah, it's great. You can take a look at the workshop. Should be up by now. Basically, what Flash did is he made a mod that creates a small HTTP server, and you can connect to it via browser, and it just shows you all the stats of your airport.
No shit.
Yeah, everything he could find in the reporting data.
Where is
Because
this?
should be on the workshop. Just search for stats on the workshop. I should definitely get the soundboard.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have this installed?
No, I don't. I can probably get it up for next time, but I have to modify the desktop scene for it.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I gotta check. I'm subscribing to it now.
It's really, really great.
That's so sweet.
In general, we've got a couple of really nice modders just in the community in like the last couple of months. BR joined us, who did most of the reverse engineering of needs and zones to add those. Flash went ahead and did reverse engineering on the stats stuff, and now took over the infinite expansion mod. Cal is still with us, but a bit inactive. He's making a modding tool. QCS is sadly a bit inactive currently. I hope he's fine, but he's spearheaded post early script modding. Chick is doing some script modding too, I think. We've got a good selection of script modders currently, diving deep into the code.
Yeah, well, this is quite a good one. I assume you're just spitting out like an HTML page with some kind of graphing JS lib or something. I don't know. That's really cool though. Yeah, I've subscribed. I'm gonna try it out after the stream. It's really neat. Super cool, honestly. Even just the screenshots. They're pretty sweet. I think I got too big. You were on YouTube. If you think it's bugged, send it over. We'll take a look.
It's possible it's just a huge airport going down in flames.
Yeah.
At some point, if a fire breaks out on an already pretty slow save, it's going to hit performance. Not directly by the fire spreading, but just by the AI doing stuff.
Yeah, the AI trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. Everybody running for the exits. And
while at the same time the sectors possibly regenerate because walls burn down. Big fires or big airports can really hit performance. I will take a look at it later. Viber.
Yeah, if you send over.
He said he's put it on Discord.
Cool.
So I'll probably take a look at it after stream.
Sweet. Let's see. Any other questions?
Snake Master Epic just asked ability for passengers who missed their flight to visit the customer service desk and get onto another flight.
I'm not opposed to it. The main issue with it is tracking and like what to. I think right now we never have a passenger whose flight changes once they're spawned. The only thing that changes is the gate. So like, does that impact? How does that impact like stats? Does the guy count as a missed flight? And does he count as two passengers? Does it matter?
But it would count as two passenger operations, right?
I guess so.
He was scheduled for one, couldn't take it. The schedule stays, but the second flight still happens and the passenger uses it, so +1. I mean, task-wise, it wouldn't be too difficult, right? Just go out, get desecure, go to the desk, and then assign a new flight, and pretty much just reset the needs, the important needs like ticketing. Well, ticketing, you don't need a ticket anymore.
It'll actually, yeah, everything would already be.
You just need to reset security, probably.
Well, if he goes in security, the only thing you really probably have to do is reset flight and then increment the stats that you want to be doubled up. Like this, basically the stuff that happens when the agent spawns, you would need to do that instead at the time that you change the flight. It's doable though. It might not be very hard. The question is, how many do you want, and are there any outbound flights still that haven't fully spawned? It's doable.
To be fair, just taking a look at my yesterday, right? I've got this flight with 1 missing, this one with 4 missing. Yeah, 4 missing, and a couple of later flights. Just a couple of people, one there, one there, one there, 2 there, 2, 1. So let's say 10 to 20 people for this huge airport. Well, not huge, but medium-sized airport, 20 people for
How many
a whole
people
day.
passing through a day?
Yesterday was... So today... Do we not have yesterday listed?
No, and the data's in there too. I bet with the mod we could see it. How many is so far today?
For like an hour of operation, we've got 1,200 successful departures, 1,800 arrivals. Arrivals peaking now because a new plane is coming in. So for 1 hour operation, nearly 2k throughput.
So you're probably 25,000-ish, maybe. Okay. How to write this down?
So I don't know, even if it's only 20,000 passengers in one day, it'd be about 20 passengers that missed the flights on my airport. And I'd say if those 20 re-choose and get a new flight, that would not really overwhelm it.
No, it's a cool little extra mechanic, and it doesn't really cost anything performance wise. It's actually slightly better. Um, the worst case is that he gets to the desk. There is no outbound that he can take because the passengers have all already been spawned for the remainder of the outbounds that day or similar. Um,
Well,
and that's
you
pretty
rarely
rare.
have flights that are completely filled up. There's usually some space in them.
Yeah, it's well, some space meaning they're not totally full.
Like this 747 is barely. I don't know what's the capacity for something, 400 something,
What's it actually?
218 passengers.
Gotcha. So you're thinking you could just actually add a passenger to it
Yeah, this
and
one's
not
pretty
use up
full. This one's
an
pretty filled up.
existing.
I think this one
I
is actually
got
completely filled. 490 is possibly the maximum.
you. Okay. Yeah, and this is actually this is a single task. We can do this pretty easy. Cool.
If there's no side effect on switching the flight.
Yeah, and off the top of my head, I think it is. I think it's kosher, but I'll have to take a look. Cool. Any other last minute questions?
RTB is just pro tippets on the 747 up to 525. You can check really quick. This is Galactic Point. Galactic Point 747 525. Yeah. So not even that 20. Not even this 747 is full.
Yeah, and that's suspect too. We probably shouldn't be. It should probably be full higher percentage of the time, but well, realistically, they should definitely be. But it's also part of the game mechanic balance. Yeah, and I agree. Helping your Snake Master Epic said it would help your service reliability regarding the missed passengers. Or at least negate some of the negative there would be a goal. Cool. Um, yeah, we'll see what the next cycle holds. We had hoped to be getting it out. We're running a little behind, but that's like how it always is. My guess, my guess is it may not hit default until July. Would be my gut, but it'll be on edge. I mean, as always, we'll do the same thing we always do. Uh, we we may live stream though. We probably will. We're likely going to live stream about sometime in June, even, and we'll probably just be playing the Edge branch, and we'll likely be showing a little bit of the new game too. Um, yeah, and then maybe a beer drinking occasion, even maybe do a fireside chat with a real fire and some beer, and who knows, get Michael's cat on here.
It's gonna be me, Michael's cat, and Chia.
Hey, either that or bring the green screen outside and where you can see me in all my cigarette smoking glory. Yeah, don't get me started with smoking zones. We'd never get a cycle done.
Fun fact: BR, I think BR actually added one.
Yeah, I did. I saw the mod. It looks good, but it doesn't have a need though.
I think it does.
The last one I saw, it was driven off boredom. I think.
It was
I
driven
wanted. I think it was using boredom.
but that was Chick's placeable. Chick made a placeable specifically for it.
Oh,
But
oh,
no zone and no need, since that was not possible for modders yet. But
oh.
now,
So there.
since BR has injected stuff and worked around stuff so that he could add a custom need and a custom zone, he added it, a custom need and a custom zone. Smoking need.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Man,
And
I am
like,
behind on you guys on Discord. I got to get on Discord, I guess.
I mean, you're on it. You just need to be online. The modding discussion is extremely highly detailed. Like,
I actually,
there's so much stuff going on.
I actually have been closing Discord because it eats up RAM. It's
Well, yeah, it's Chromium. It's it's a web app basically.
yeah, and I end up it crushes my RAM, and even with a lot of RAM, I find myself annoyed. Um, yeah, I got to catch up on the mod scene. Like apparently, you guys are running circles around, even where I thought it was.
But yeah, like I said, he was nice enough to share his contributions on the modding library. He added, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, he added a pull request for it. I said just put in the all the code injections you had to do, and I will replace those code injections with base game stuff, so it doesn't have to be code injected.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so for probably next cycle, I guess it's an hour of change or something, because now I know what has to be changed for custom zones and custom needs to work. I guess it's an hour to change, and then the base modding library has the ability to add needs and zones.
Sweet. Yeah. So, what all gets into the next cycle is a little TBD, but the goal is overhangs. We've talked about a number of things here. A lot of smallish stuff, but everything takes a day.
Bunch
Um,
of quality of life improvements.
yeah, and like little ish stuff like Discord rich presence, which is yeah, it's probably 2 hours, but by the time it tested and working and deployed, it's probably a day. And yeah, and then the modding stuff. And again, we're probably going to end up shooting for probably about July to deploy it to default. The next one, but yeah, I'd expect to see some of this stuff hitting edge much sooner than that. You were on YouTube. The street is jammed, so the fire never get out. The firemen should eventually just get out, even if they're and walk.
I think, yeah, they do, but I think if they can spawn, they won't spawn. So if your road is completely blocked up until the spawn, firemen may never spawn. Because
But
firemen only spawn from fire trucks, and if the fire truck can't enter the map, they won't spawn.
but at some point, I mean, you should have some kind of way for the vehicles to get off the map, so they should be getting the despawn.
Yeah, but if you have a gem and the gem takes 1 in-game hour to get off, and
You're gonna have
takes the
crispy
fires,
airport.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I get it. That's kind of by design, though.
By the way, cars don't usually drive into the roads anymore.
Yeah, I am very thankful for that.
Did I tell you why this was broken?
Yeah, it was diagonal. The
Yeah.
diagonal was miscalculated. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really calculated. It was only checked if basically this was the diagonal minus 2 and 2, and it was hard coded minus 2 2 or 2 2, something like that, and it only checked this one corner.
Uh, No
I just
kidding.
changed it to it was hard coded to check only one specific corner. It's now checking the absolute difference of x and y. So
Right.
if x, the absolute difference of x is 2 and the absolute difference of y is 2, then it's diagonal.
That's in the pathfinding code?
No, that's some helper method.
So yeah, I must have broken that.
I think you did. Well, at least the last change was yours.
That means I did break it. Oops.
It could have been broken longer even, but I'm just saying the last change was from you.
Yeah, I recall working on that area code, and I know how to check diagonal, so I'm a little surprised. But
I guess you have been
how it
working
goes.
a bit long on that night.
That's probably the case. That tends to happen.
Well, anyway, once that was fixed, now they drive way more sensible.
Yeah, it looks way better too. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. Going to probably go over some of this stuff and see what our plan is, what the schedule looks like. Cool.
Sounds good. Airport.
All right, guys.
As always, Airport is on the workshop in a minute or 2 or 10 later today. If you want to play it.
Yeah, we'll get it up there. Thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you enjoyed seeing us. Definitely a new, different experience. I like it. It feels more intimate. I feel like it can reach out and grab you. Just kind of cool. Interesting. Yeah, hope you guys had a good time. We'll do it again in June, even though probably won't be a default up yet. And yeah, we'll get the roadmap updated with some of the stuff we talked about today. That we'll kind of prioritize. And as always, if you got issues, email us, reach out on the forum, Reddit, Twitter, you can tweet at us, Discord, whatever.
YouTube,
get our attention
even.
any way you want.
However, we don't check YouTube too often, so if you want to reach us, you may want to use one of the others. We are usually checking daily, at least.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. If you haven't reviewed the game yet, please consider leaving a review. I want to cry when it says mixed. Beyond that, hope everybody's staying safe, healthy, and not going too star crazy. Build a bigger airport if you're getting bored. And until next time.
Bye-bye.
We shall see you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.